2, his voice raised an octave. Crack. 3, he couldn't believe this. Crack. 4, big tears welled up in his eyes of the rebel. Okay, stop. That's enough. Crack came the belt down on the loosed hands of the principal. Crack, the child flinched with each blow. Tears beginning to stream down his face. Crack, crack. No, please, the former rebel begged. Stop. I did it. I'm the one who deserves it. Stop. Please stop. Still the blows came. Crack, crack, one after another. Finally it was over. The principal stood with sweat glistening across his forehead and beads trickling down his face. Slowly he knelt down and studied the young man for a second, and then with his swollen hands reached out to cradle the face of the weeping child. Then the words were softly uttered. Grace. Partake of the sacraments this morning, and Jesus gave and suffered for us in the same manner. So as we go through the month, I hope we think about grace and what it really means. I've been talking about charity a little bit and what we should be doing. I had quite a few scriptures to substantiate what our purpose is, and as Dan mentioned, Zion, and how we should be looking towards things. I think we're going to forego that. I'm just going to go right to another story that I need to share with you. Some of you might have received an email about a family in Missouri, the Cozarts. Dad had forwarded it to me, and when I opened it, I was trying to figure out why, because it was addressed to people that are listed on the registry of the centerplace.org. And here they had spelled my name wrong on my email, so that's why I hadn't got it first. But Dad had forwarded it to me, and I opened it, kind of glanced at it the other day, and I was on my cell phone, so it's a little hard to go to the internet and things like that. So when I sat down on the computer, I was able to bring it up. So a friend of the Cozarts sent the email asking for help for them. The Cozarts are members of the Bates City branch in Bates City, Missouri. And he included some links and some scriptures, and I had some of those that say why we should be helping others. Let me read the newspaper article from that fire incident. Below freezing temperatures not only made it difficult for local crews to battle a fire that destroyed a home in Lake Lafayette Sunday, but may have contributed to its cause. This was on New Year's Eve, the morning of New Year's Eve. The home and garage of Howard and Laura Cozart, 1400 Red Oak Drive, Lake Lafayette, caught fire early Sunday morning. The fire had been burning in the garage for some time and had spread to the home before the Odessa Fire and Rescue Protection District reached the scene at approximately 7:21 a.m., at which time it was 3 degrees Fahrenheit. Kevin Campbell, fire chief, said due to the amount of the damage in the garage, it will be impossible to determine for certain what caused the fire. However, he said Howard Cozart informed him there were no heat sources in the garage and only 2 lights always left on, connected to a power strip. He said it cannot be proven, but the cold weather could have harmed the electrical equipment, he said, and caused the fire. Will be listed as an unintentional electrical failure. Cozarts and their son Gabriel were in the home when the fire began. Laura Cozart said 2 other grown children, Matthew and Elizabeth, live in the home but were not there at the time. Richard Boyton, a family friend, this is the gentleman that sent the email, who was staying on the property in a camper, said he was woken by his dog and alerted to the fire. He woke the Cozarts, who all got out of the home before the fire reached it. The home consisted of 2 mobile homes and a double wide and single wide connected into a single L-shaped living space. Campbell said the double wide trailer was about 15 feet from the garage. He said the home and garage were a heavy fire road initially. Fire crews set up a defensive position at the double wide, though it was later determined if its insides were involved as well. A second location was set up at the single wide trailer and part of it was not burned, though Campbell said all the belongings in it would have been damaged by smoke. Campbell estimates there was $75,000 in damage and $20,000 in contents. Laura Cozart said the home was uninsured. She said the family managed to move their vehicles out of the way of the fire, but otherwise lost everything. They lost everything, Boyden said. They don't have any clothes. He lost all his work tools. He said he was glad local groups had started to assist the Cozarts. The family is staying with friends, Laura Cozart said. Between Odessa's 2 tankers and tankers requested from other departments, there were 7 tankers on scene. There were 5 engines total, which Campbell said were mostly requested to get as many firefighters on the scene as possible so they could rotate response and recuperation. An Odessa EMS unit with 2 personnel stayed on scene throughout the fire, providing rehabilitation and a place for firefighters to warm up. In addition to water and Gatorade, firefighters were provided with coffee and hot chocolate to help warm up. Campbell said the district tried to limit time and individual firefighters were dealing directly with the fire to 30-minute rotations. And once the fire was controlled around 12:30, only a handful of firefighters dealt with it at a time, though there were more than 35 firefighters on scene. No injuries reported, though at one point a firefighter's foot fell to the floor of one of the trailers. Campbell said there were no reports of frostbite. 7 of those firefighters were driving tanker trucks back and forth to Odessa, Campbell said, as they were unable to draw water in Lake Lafayette. Though a water tower stands over the town, the water system failed in 2011. Water service in the town is currently serviced by PWSD number 1. I don't know what that is. But water is not held there. Campbell said likely did not impact the outcome of the fire, but would have shown refueling times. A few times the tankers had to return to Odessa Fire Station to be de-iced due to the conditions. Excavation equipment owned by Brad Clemens was brought in later in the day to help uncover areas still on fire. The last crew left the fire shortly before 2 p.m. and were served chili prepared by the wives of some of the firefighters at the fire station. Campbell said the meal was appreciated and helped firefighters recover from their time in the cold. The crews were designated as available again around 4:30 p.m. after the equipment had been thawed and loaded. So they had set up a GoFundMe account, and this is what the front page of the GoFundMe account says. On December 31st, 2017, the Cozart family lost their home, barn, and all their belongings and professional equipment in a devastating fire. The Cozart family are dear friends who have always been there for many people throughout the years. Unfortunately, they did not have insurance. So this is a profound loss. Talked about the estimates. So other items such as clothing, furniture, appliances, household items. It's a long recovery road ahead for the Gozarts. Howard lost his tools for a small job contractor business. Laura is a deaf interpreter, educator, and she lost all her books, supplies, etc. to help her develop lesson plans for her students and families. Their daughter Elizabeth just graduated from college and starts a new job next week. Their son Gabriel is in college studying music and lost his instruments and laptop. He was going to school to be a music teacher. Their son Matt lost all his clothes, shoes, and all personal effects. Their faith is carrying them through this very difficult time, and the love they have felt from the community, church members, and friends have been a blessing. We appreciate any help. Another person that, when I went to check out the GoFundMe account, there's, as of yesterday, only $1,000 in there, but it's only been active for 4 days. And most of the entries were just small donations to individual people that probably knew them, $10, $40 donations. One of the persons that made a donation. The Gozarts are extremely close friends of mine. Howard has been there for us since before I got sick. When I got sick, some friends backed away, not knowing what to say or what was going to happen. But Howard and Laura drew near. They became like guardian angels, helping, encouraging Renee, and sometimes sitting all night by my hospital bed. They have helped us with everything from cleaning house to installing a new AC unit in our house. Never once did they ever ask for anything in return. That is who they are. Most of us who know them know what I'm talking about. On New Year's Eve, they lost their home and all their possessions, except a few old cars. They did not have insurance and minimal savings. I know you get asked a lot, but this is one of those special. This one is special. So I read into that. I read the articles. I went and looked at the newspaper articles from the area. Everything seemed to be confirming, and then I went and found the pastor's phone number of the branch they spoke of, and I called and talked to them for a bit yesterday. They just got back from the property. The congregation was there all day helping them kind of clean things up and scatter things around. And it sounds like this Bates City is a pretty poor area. There's not a lot of money. The day of the fire, the congregation had pulled together $2,000, and I expect that was just from the individuals like we would do for each other, and took it over to them and handed it to them on that day so that they could do something. They had no place to live and no clothes. So I had a great talk with the pastor. We talked about them as individuals a little bit and who they are and their needs and everything that's that we've been talking about. This is the time when we should have, especially when it's our family inside. They're a restoration group, and so I'm going to be talking with Ed to see what our funds will look like, and I'd like to send them some financial help. I asked the pastor if I could send it to him to get to them instead of going through the GoFundMe account, because it'd be easier for us. And he said that would be fine. So kind of wanted to share that with you, let you know about that. I think it's the right thing to do. We should help them out the best we can. And that's what got a little short story to close with. Got completely off track today, so. So I pulled this story off the internet. A man dies and goes to heaven. Of course, Peter meets him at the pearly gates. Peter says, "Here's how it works. You need 100 points to make it into heaven. You tell me all the good things you've done, and I'll give you a certain number of points for each item, depending on how good it was. When you reach 100 points, you get in." "Okay," the man says. "I was married for 50 years and never cheated on her. Never even cheated in my heart." "That's wonderful," says Peter. "That's for 3 points." 3 points, he says. "Well, I attended church all my life and supported ministry and with my tithes and service." "Terrific," says Peter. "That's certainly worth a point." 1 point? Golly, how about this? I started a soup kitchen in my city and worked in a shelter for homeless veterans. Fantastic. That's good for 2 more points, he says. 2 points, the man cries. "At this rate, the only way I'll get into heaven is by the grace of God. Come on in." So I hope we think this month as we talk about God's grace and the benefits that He provides us, the love that and support that He just pours out on us continually. That we remember those in need and that we look to be the people of Zion that the Lord has spoken of. God spoke about this in the start of the Bible, Genesis, our call to worship. "And the Lord called His people Zion, because they were one heart and one mind, and dwelt in righteousness, and there were no poor among them." Thank you. We have a blessed day, and we always need to remember what Jesus did for us by the grace of God.
I always enjoy it when you're speaking. You always have such good stories for us. I think I'll always remember the one about earning points, because that affects so many of us in so many different ways. That no matter what we do or try to do or whatever, it's still the only way that we will ever inherit that reward is by the ever-loving grace of God, by His grace. The closing hymn is very appropriate for the group of us that are here today, talking about this God that we're talking about. This God is the God we adore. So let's please stand and we'll sing our closing hymn number 100 and remain standing for the benediction.
This God is the God we adore, our faithful, unchangeable friend, whose love is as large as His power, and was not beginning nor end. 'Tis Jesus, the first and the last, whose Spirit will guide us safe home. We'll praise Him for all that is past, and we'll trust Him for all that's to come.
Heavenly Father, as we bring this service to a close once again, we turn our eyes and hearts to you, Lord, knowing that in you, through you, and because of you, we have all things that are worthwhile, start and end with your grace, your beauty, Father. I pray you'll be with each one of the saints here this day as we now depart your house and go forth to a meal that's being prepared for us, that truly we can remember having participated in one meal this day that is everlasting, that was contained from your body of your Son. Father, may we always remember that and do your will as dictated to us, given to us by the power of the Holy Spirit. So I would tell my fellow saints now to go in peace, be ever mindful of you and your presence, Father, and that we would be able to live in peace and harmony until we meet again. I pray these things in your Son, Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.